Cotton is a senator from the state of Arkansas. He's a member of the Republican Party, and we're happy to have him on tonight. Senator Cotton, I appreciate your coming on. Having trouble getting Republican senators to appear on this topic. Here's the question. You are seeing, and this is not paranoia, if anything, I'm trying to restrain our analysis of this because I don't want to make it worse. But you're seeing former military leaders like Stan McChrystal compare 74 million Americans to terrorists. That has massive implications. Where's this going, and how can we stop it?
Tucker, thanks for having me on. That kind of rhetoric and the rhetoric you cited throughout your opening statement there is obviously exaggerated and overheated, and it needs to stop now. As you say, it's a striking contrast. The Democrats are being very sore winners. Joe Biden's going to take office tomorrow. The Democrats have narrow majorities in the Congress, yet they seem so angry and aggressive towards the 74 million people who voted for the president. I think there's a couple reasons for that, Tucker. One, they know their agenda is massively unpopular. The American people don't want to open our borders or defund our police. And they know that politics and government is the one place where those 74 million Americans have something like an equal voice. Democrats and liberals, as you say, control our media. They control business increasingly. They control big tech. They control education. Politics and government is the one place where conservatives can have their voice heard. So what the Democrats want to do is use their narrow and probably fleeting majority to try to silence all opposition to things like opening our borders for 15 million illegal aliens and probably more in the surge we see coming, while also radically changing the rules of our democracy, doing things like eliminating the filibuster and making Washington, D.C. a state and nationalizing our voting laws so they can turn that narrow, fleeting majority into a large and permanent majority. And I, for one, Tucker, am not going to stand for either one of those things.
Here's my worry, though, and I'll just admit it out loud. I am worried about the reaction against this from people who I agree with politically, who probably vote the same way I do. No one is defending them. And they're watching television, they're hearing the most powerful people in the world describe them as terrorists and announce a war on them. And then they look to the other side and they're foolish old frauds like Mitch McConnell railing on about how terrible Trump's voters are. I mean, I get it. I was against what happened in the Capitol, very against it, said it every night. But who is the person who's going to stand up and reassure these voters that they're not going to be crushed? They're really scared right now. They have every reason to be scared. And if they stay scared, they're going to do something crazy. So why won't anyone defend them?
Tucker, I'll stand up for them and defend them tonight. 74 million Americans ought not to be slandered based on the action of a couple thousand who participated in a violent mob at the Capitol 2 weeks ago. And because a violent mob attacked the Capitol 2 weeks ago, that doesn't mean that they should have their views censored. It doesn't mean they should be at risk of losing their job or having their business boycotted, losing their slots in high schools or colleges that choose selectively. It doesn't mean that they should have to pay higher taxes or open their borders or defund their police. That is crazy, and it is a complete non sequitur. But the Democrats realize that that agenda is unpopular, but they also have all the other commanding heights of our society, from the media to education to entertainment, in their corner. What those people need, what those 74 million people who voted for the president, voted for Republicans need, are Republicans and conservatives in the Congress, in the state legislatures, to stand up for their rights. And I promise you, I will do that.
Man, I'm grateful to hear that, but you see Stan McChrystal, I just wonder, and I'm not saying he's evil, but I just wonder if he understands the damage that he does to the country when, as the commanding officer in Afghanistan, he's got the respect of all these people, he compares tens of millions of American citizens, including veterans, by the way, to terrorists? Like, what does that do? What damage does that do? Does he not realize that?
Well, it's incredibly ill-advised to take that kind of language towards the 74 million people that voted for Republicans last fall. It is polarizing, it is incendiary. And the Democrats, as you say, ought not to go down that path. They ought to stop proposing, truth commissions with far-reaching mandates or censorship or deprogramming or any of the other radical ideas they have. How about talking about getting more vaccinations out to people or helping people get back to work?
Yeah. This is going to get super crazy if they don't pull back. I really am worried about it. Senator, I appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.